What will the kingdom look like? First, we have to understand the kingdom. The kingdom will be full with the saints, first and foremost. So, who are the saints? We know that the saints are the Israelites. Let's go to Psalms chapter 50. In the kingdom is going to be full of the saints. So if the saints are there, the servants are also going to be there, but they're not going to be where the saints are going to be. Psalms chapter 50, verse 5. The servants will be the other nations. Okay, the saints are going to be in their own slot. Psalms chapter 50, let's go to verse 5. Psalms 50 and 5, it says, Gather my saints together unto me, those that have made a covenant with me by sacrifice. So who made a covenant with them with the Most High by sacrifice? Who made that covenant? You know it's got to be Israel. It's got to be Israel made that covenant. Let's go to Matthew 24 and 31 and find out. These saints, they got to make that sacrifice. They're the ones who are going to gain that interest into the kingdom. Matthew 24 and verse 31 reads, Matthew chapter 24, verse 31. Listen to what he says. This is a prophecy Hamashayach made. He says, And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Okay, so who are his elect? So we have saints, and then we have his elect. Who are his saints, and who is his elect? Isaiah chapter 45 verse 4. Let's get you who is his elect and who is his saints. Isaiah 45 verse 4, it reads, For Jacob my servant's sake, and Israel mine elect. I have even called thee by thy name. I have surnamed thee, though thou hast not known me. So who's going to be called his elect? Israel. You notice it says, For Jacob my servant's sake. What was Jacob before? Before he was Israel, he was called Jacob. That was his name before. But Israel, who comes out of Jacob, remember what Israel means. He is a power of Yah. Israel has power to the name. When Jacob's name was changed, he was a power of the Most High. So that is his elect. Those Israelites who the Most High select to be of the 144,000. His saints, when we look at Psalms chapter 140, 148, and let's read verse 13. It reads, Let them praise the name of the Most High Yahweh, for his name alone is excellent. His glory is above the earth and heaven. That's why he named us Yasharahla. He is a prince of power. The name alone is powerful. He also exalteth the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even of the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye Yahweh. So who are the saints? His people, Israelites. Those are the saints. Those are his people. So his elect are going to be pulled up first. The rest of the saints are going to be pulled up afterwards. To make it real clear again, 144,000 are going to be pulled out of the 1/3 of the saints. They're included within. Revelation chapter 7. Revelation chapter 7. And let's read verse 1. It reads, And after these things I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, just like we just read a minute ago, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the Most High, to the 4 angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. That's the mark of the Most High, right? The law, statutes, and commandments. That's the seal. That's the seal, as well as understanding the mercy and grace of Hamashayach in the New Testament. Well, all of the 1/3 of the Israelites that are going to be pulled are going to know who Hamashayach is, and are going to understand the mercy and grace of keeping those commandments. And I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. See that? So what are they going to get? What's going to happen to those elect? They're going to get sealed, and then he's going to take 12,000 from each tribe. Jump to verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. We went over this many times. Y'all know who this is? This is the saints. That's who this is. He's only coming for the 12 tribes of Israel. So the saints / elect will dwell in the kingdom. So let's paint a picture of the kingdom right now. Let's paint a picture. Let's go to Revelation chapter 21. Now that we know who's going to be in the kingdom, I ain't thinking about nobody else. I'm thinking about just the 12 tribes, because that's what the Bible only talks about, the 12 tribes of Israel. Let's go to Revelation 21. Revelation 21, and let's start at verse 10. And it reads, and he carried me away. Who's the he? The angel. Carry who? John the Revelator. And he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, that holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from the Most High. This ain't the same Jerusalem that y'all see over there today. It don't look like that. The Jerusalem that the Most High is prepared, that Yahushua said, my Father has many mansions, that's coming down on this earth, totally different from that Jerusalem that you see. It says, you really think the Most High want to stay in something like that? You think he want his people to stay in some dusty old place that look like that? He ain't putting us there. Verse 11, having the glory of the Most High, and her light was like unto a stone, most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as crystal. This is how Jerusalem gonna look. And had a wall great and high, and it had 12 gates, and at the gates 12 angels, and names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. Now, this ain't the same wall that Donald Trump tried to build. Donald Trump can't compete with this. This wall is beautiful and huge. This wall, Donald Trump, he's trying to make America like this, but he can't. It'll never be like this. So the Most High is coming back for his people. He has a trademark on us. That trademark will never diminish. Look at Revelation 21 and 1. It says, and I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth was passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. Imagine that. The city was pure gold. Look at verse 13. On the east 3 gates, on the north 3 gates, on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden ring. Wait a minute. 12 apostles. Are there any more apostles? He says that these were the only 12 apostles. Anyone else calling themselves apostles, it's not in the scriptures. There's only 12 apostles. And it says, and he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth 4 and the length is as large as the breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. The length and the breadth and the height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof in 144 cubits, according to the measure of a man, that is of the angel, 144,000. See that? 12 by 12. And the building of the wall of it was jasper, and the city was pure gold. The city was what? Pure gold. Imagine that. You know, Esau knows that gold is a healing mechanism as well. He knows that just by you having gold on you or around you, gold chemical has healing properties. This city will be pure gold. You know, disease can't live in gold. Sickness and illness cannot live in pure gold. All right, the gold that a lot of our sisters and brothers are wearing today is not even real gold. You know, it's not even a fraction of gold that we think. So the scriptures tell us that the city was like pure gold, like unto clear glass. This is the best gold that you could find. And the foundations of the wall of the city were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth as emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth as topaz, the 10th as chrysoprasus, the 11th adjacent, I might be butchering these names, the 12th as amethyst. So all of these stones that we just talked about is in the ephod of the high priest or the chief priest. This is in the plate that he wears around his neck. This is what Hamashayach wears right now. He wears his ephod. So this ephod, when you look at the stones, I'm going to say stones and not pearls. The stones, the Most High likens the children of Israel that believe in him to stones. He says, I could raise up these stones. So what are these stones? These are beautiful stones. Look at these stones that he just described. All these different colors. This makes up the 12 tribes of Israel. In the kingdom, these stones are going to be allured all over the place with its full brightness. So we give him all praise. And the 12 gates were 12 pearls, and every several gate was of one pearl. And the street of the city was pure gold. Imagine that. Even the street was gold. So everything around you is gold. We don't even know what gold could possibly do for other things, like trees and plants. You know, even a water system. Can you imagine using gold for the water system, just pure gold? It'll probably kill every chemical that runs in that water, just running over gold. Can you imagine that? Pure gold is going to be in the kingdom. So this is the exterior. This is the perimeter of the city. This is what this is talking about. Wow. Pure gold. And also it said that it was transparent like glass. Wow. Let's see what the inside looks like. See, the Most High tells us what we got coming. But it's just a little small fraction that he's giving. He's not giving us too much. Let's see what else. I mean, this is a country club where we going. Country club where we can party and praise the Most High all day long. Without sickness, without illness, without someone afflicting us. Zechariah chapter 8, and let's read verse 4. Zechariah 8 and 4. And it reads, Thus saith the Most High of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with a staff in his hand for very age. And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls, playing in the streets thereof. Thus saith the Most High of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in these days, should it also be marvelous in my eyes, saith the Lord of hosts. See that? Thus saith the Most High of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country and from the west country. That same thing he said in Revelation. He's going to gather us from the east to west. Verse 8, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their power in truth and in righteousness. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 11. Those who are seeking righteousness are going to be placed in the city. Those who seek wickedness, We're going to have to battle in the wilderness. Isaiah chapter 11. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 11. This is more information about what it looks like on the inside of the city that we just read about in the book of Revelation. Isaiah chapter 11, verse 5. Isaiah 11 and 5. And righteousness shall be the girdle of his loins, and faithfulness the girdle of his reins. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb. This is what's going to happen in the kingdom. The wolf is going to dwell with the lamb. Y'all know what a wolf does. He shreds a lamb to pieces. But this wolf is going to dwell with the lamb. It says, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid. Y'all know what a kid is. A kid is a baby goat. And the calf and the young lion and the fatling together. And a little child shall lead them. Look at that. A little child ain't going to be afraid of a leopard or a wolf or a lion. Incredible. And the cow and the bear shall feed. See that? Their young ones shall lie down together. And the lion shall eat straw like the ox. Verse 8. And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the ass. Look at that. Baby be playing with snakes. And the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockroach's den. Y'all already know them cockroaches was made for babies to be playing, chasing them. Yeah, laughing and everything, playing with a cockroach. The worst things that we have today, they're going to be most out made for our babies to play with. It says, they shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Most High as the waters cover the sea. Wow. Most High is great. Let's look at some more verses on what the kingdom is going to be like. So we see that the cow and the bear are going to lay down together. The lion and the lamb. Alright, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be something that we're not used to. We're going to have to calibrate. And then our children are not going to know nothing about this kingdom other than seeing the worm. You know, the Most High said that worm is never going to die. You know, in Babylon. Isaiah 14 verse 7. Isaiah 14 and 7. It says, the whole earth is at rest and is quiet. They break forth into singing. Yea, the fir trees rejoice at thee, and the cedars of Lebanon, big trees, huge cedar trees, saying, since thou art laid down, no feller is come up against us. No axe has come up against the trees. Even they rejoicing. See that? Even the trees are going to be happy. The whole earth is going to be at rest when we go into the kingdom. Everything's going to grow again. Let's go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 30. This is incredible, isn't it? The Most High ain't no joke. Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 19. And it reads, and out of them shall proceed thanksgiving. Well, this is talking about the children of Israel. Out of us are going to proceed thanksgiving? What does that mean? Out of us are going to proceed thanksgiving. Let's go to Sirach, the book of Sirach again. And let's see what that thanksgiving is. Because it ain't Thanksgiving that we have in November or the 25th, 26th, 27th day. They ain't the same Thanksgiving. You understand? You understand what I'm saying? Thanksgiving of these holidays is different from us giving thanks and praise to the Most High. That's our Thanksgiving. Giving thanks and praise to Yahweh. But Thanksgiving of the holidays is giving thanksgiving to who? Who is it thanking? If we go to Sirach chapter 17, let's read verse 27. Here it is right here. It says, who shall praise the Most High in the grave? How you going to praise the Most High in the grave? Can you give thanksgiving in the grave? When you dead? When you're not of the living? It says, instead of them which live and give thanks. The Most High wants us to give thanks now, while we're alive. Verse 28. thanksgiving perish from the dead, as from one that is not. The living and sound in heart shall praise the Most High. See that? That's the real definition of Thanksgiving. Giving praise to the Most High. Not November 27th or whatever Thursday that is. Thanksgiving is giving the Most High praise while we're still living daily. The Most High has a whole chapter in Psalms chapter 149, chapter 150 about giving praise to Him. So we're going to have a lot of things to learn when we go back into the kingdom. Let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 19. A lot of you say, that's going to be boring. All you guys thinking the same way. Well, that's why we got to get rid of you. We got to get rid of you because you come up with the thoughts of the evil one. So yeah, it's going to be that way. We showed you the exterior of the kingdom. Now we're showing you the interior of what the kingdom is going to look like in the future when Yasharahla returns. Alright, so let's read Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 19 all the way through. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving, and the voice of them that make merry, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. See that? So the Most High is going to make a lot of babies out of us. We're going to have a lot of babies in the kingdom. The Most High is going to multiply Israel like we were in Egypt. How we multiply, it's going to be the same thing. Look at Isaiah 66 and 22. He's going to repopulate the earth with his people. Instead of all these heathens and wicked people, it's going to be brothers and sisters that believe, that teach their children and their children's children these laws, statutes, commandments. Isaiah chapter 66, verse 22. Isaiah 66 and 22. This is going to be in the kingdom. It says, for as the new heavens and the new earth which I will make shall remain before me, saith the Most High, so shall your seed and your name remain. Our name, Yasharahla, Israel, is going to remain. It's not going anywhere. All these other names that you hear, Caucasian, that's going to be gone. Chinese, you ain't going to know what these names are. Japanese, Indian, you're going to be like, what's that? Everybody only going to know, they're going to know Israel. That's what they're going to know. They're going to know Judah, Benjamin, Levi, Issachar. They're going to know Gad, Zebulun, Simeon, Manasseh, Ephraim. They're going to know all of those. Asher, Naphtali. They're going to know those names. They're going to want to be us. Understand that. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 60. This is all going to be in the kingdom. And the beauty of it is, as thick as this book is, this little book is, he gives us just a few verses here and there to show us what the kingdom is going to be like. And just by you reading that alone should make you excited. Talking about the streets are going to be paved gold, and the walls are going to be gold with different pearls and rubies and sapphire and amethyst. It's going to be brighter than the sun. Just being in that city. All those different things, they don't lose their glow. It's just like the elements in outer space. You ever see the elements in outer space, how they just glow? All those different pearls and rubies, they never lose their bling. Isaiah chapter 60, let's read verse 20. It reads, thy sun shall no more go down, neither shall the moon withdraw itself. For the Most High shall be thine everlasting light, and the days of thy mourning shall be ended. See that? It's going to be everlasting light. All those things that I just mentioned, that's in Revelation chapter 21, it's going to bring light always. And understanding. Your mind is not going to be cloudy by the chemtrails that's falling on your brain every day, or by the medicines or prescriptions that you take daily. It's not going to cloud or fog your mind. You're not going to lose your memory like you do in this kingdom. You're not going to forget things like you do in this kingdom. You're going to always know what's what. You're going to grow in truth and understanding. Your heart is going to get stronger and stronger instead of weaker and weaker. Your respiratory system is going to be clean because of the gold that's coming from the earth in that kingdom, from the streets and the walls, and all that stuff is going to be vibrating. You understand? It's going to be vibrating. Positiveness. And let's go to verse 21. Thy people also shall be all righteous. They shall inherit the land forever. The branch of my planting, the work of my hands, that I may be glorified. A little one shall become 1,000, and a small one a strong nation. I, the power, will hasten it in his time. See that? Unbelievable. We're going to be like angels. When you leave that city and you go around, because we're going to have the whole earth. When you leave Jerusalem and you go around the earth, you're going to be shining a bright light, because you're going to have that wisdom in you, and everything around you is going to just be radiant.
Suddenly, Daniel found himself in another place with one of the angels.
Daniel, I have a lot to show you.
As he looked out, Daniel saw a place where a multitude of people gathered, and their appearance was like that of the angels. Their color was pure white, and their bodies seemed to glow with radiance. Because of their similar appearance, Daniel thought he was seeing a gathering of the angels.
This is not the gathering of the angels, Daniel. This is the gathering of the saints.
The differences between the saints and the angels were subtle. Their color is a pure, brilliant white from their hair down to their feet. But the difference is that the angels have wings, while the saints do not. The saints were worshiping God. They worshiped God with one voice and raised their hands as they were singing. Daniel heard the sound of many instruments, and the sounds were like nothing he had encountered before. He longed to join these people and moved over towards them, but the angels stopped him.
Daniel, don't go. I have a lot to show you. Take this file and record everything you see.
The multitude that Daniel saw were all looking at a bright light that shone like the sun. It was the source of all the light there. It was the source of all the light there.
A very thick, heavy light coming upon them there. Now, they were all looking at that light as if they are seeing something there. But to me, I cannot look at that light. I cannot look at that light because it's so dangerous to my eyes. So I try to dodge to look through, but they were looking through, but to me I cannot look through.
You notice how he said that he couldn't look directly into the light. Who was able to look into the light? The saints. Who are the saints? The saints are the Israelites. That's why he said that it's not time yet.
Immediately, Daniel was in a new place with radiant mansions as far as the eye could see. It was incomparable to anything he knew on earth. Though the appearance resembled buildings, the structure was unusual, not made of any earthly materials.
Also, when he talks about how the structures didn't look earthly, that's what we were reading in Revelation chapter 21 when he talked about the different stones, these precious stones. You don't see any buildings around here using those type of precious stones, or any skyscrapers using all these different stones mentioned in Revelation 21. So this is what's going to happen in the new kingdom. These walls, these gates are going to be made out of these crystallites and the sardonyx and amethyst and all these different precious stones that the Most High has inside the earth, waiting for the kingdom to come, so it could be replaced. So the old structures can be replaced with the new. Now they say Jesus, but we say Yahushua. But in retrospect, pay attention to what they're saying, because this is going to be what's going to happen in the kingdom.
Daniel, Jesus has finished his work. The mansions are ready, but the saints are not ready.
There was a sound of beautiful singing and worship, and it seemed to come from all around. Daniel wondered where the singing was coming from, because he could see no people there.
Daniel, the worship song you're hearing is being sung by the flowers.
As he looked, Daniel saw the flowers swaying in response to the music. It actually seemed as if they were clapping their hands, shouting, and praising God.
Just made it to Hispaniola, Haiti, and Levi. This is the island of Hispaniola. So the Most High blessed me to get here. I'm gonna go out here and push this truth and get the word to my people. Okay, here's some footage of when I went to the Dominican Republic, and what I have to tell you, brothers and sisters, was I didn't go to Punta Cana. A lot of brothers, oh, you went to Punta Cana, you was on vacation. No, I wasn't on vacation like that. What I did was I was teaching the truth. So I knew I had emailed back and forth a couple of brothers, and when I went over there, I put my life in their hands, and basically what they did was they took me through the countryside of that island. We were way far away from Punta Cana, on the other side of the island, where the whales go to and from. And these brothers took me through the woods. It was an older brother, had leg problems. He was showing me around the woods, and he took me to an area where all these flowers were. And he was waiting to see what would happen. So when I went to, he says, look at this. So he put his finger down towards the flower, and the flowers collapsed on the ground, like they just fell. And I looked at him, and I was like, is that normal? Are they supposed to do that? And I'm looking back and forth because I'm dizzy behind watching what just happened. So there was a whole flower bed, and we're on this trail walking. And so the flowers came back up, and I tried the same thing, and the flowers did the same thing. They stood there for a second, and then they just closed up immediately. And I was a little nervous behind that. These weren't fly. I'm sure a lot of you brothers and sisters here in the States have seen fly catchers, flowers that catch flies. But in this country, this wasn't a flower like that. This flower was alive. These plants were alive. And when I saw this, what this brother showed me on this video footage, I took it to heart. I said, man, this is what those flowers was doing. They was alive. They felt my presence. And so it was quite interesting. So when you see this is what's coming in the kingdom. Secondly, what I'd like to add, when I was there, I had a camera, and I was trying to capture a lot of footage as well as talking to brothers and sisters. For some reason, YouTube will not let me upload that footage. I can't move it from the camera that I have onto another terabyte. I can't move it. I've never had this problem before. But on this footage, I had recorded this waterfall, and you see bugs flying through there and everything like that. What was interesting, at the movement of the naked eye, looking at the waterfall, I didn't see anything that was unusual. But when I looked through the camera, what I saw that was unusual, after I put it in slow-mo, mind you, I put the camera for some reason I put this camera in slow motion just to see what it looked like. And mind you, when I looked through this camera in slow motion, I could see the waterfall falling in slow motion, I could see butterflies and insects flying in slow motion. But what I saw in that camera blew my mind. And what it was little objects flying fast through the camera while the camera was in slow motion. These objects were white and they were going to and fro within my camera quickly. And I mean, they were like zip, zip, zip. They were zipping through the camera. And so I said, wow, if I couldn't see it with the naked eye, that means that I was in the midst of these things flying to and fro. Now, I don't know what it was, and I couldn't see it with the eye. But the people of Dominican Republic were very mysterious. And our people are in these areas that we do not know of. Okay?
They are waiting for the saints.
Because you're going to be the Most High. Even your name alone is going to scare people. When you say you're Yasharahla. So much power, people just going to fall. Go to Jeremiah chapter 30. We don't understand how these blessings are going to be, man. It's going to be crazy. What you see today with like these big names in the world, like in hip hop or in the music industry or in the movie industry, these big names, you know. When they show up on your porch or in your city, people, oh yeah, such and such is coming. You see, that ain't nothing on the Most I get through with this place. You think that's something? Wait till we get that fame for our name. And we show up. It's gonna be like coming to America by 100 times better. It's gonna be crazy. Jeremiah chapter 30 verse 20. Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me. And I will punish all that oppress them. He's going to punish everybody that oppressed the Israelites. Why is he going to punish them? Isaiah chapter 14 verse 1. And let's read down to verse 2. And it reads, For the Most High will have mercy on Jacob, and will yet choose Israel, and set them in their own land. And the strangers shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. And the people shall take them and bring them to their place. Jacob means supplanter. That means a lot of these brothers are not going to wake up till the Most High shows up. This is, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place. And the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of the Most High, for servants and handmaids. And they shall take them captives, whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. Now you understand what Jeremiah 30 and 20 was saying. Let's go back to that. Jeremiah 30 and 20. That says, Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me, and I will punish all that oppress them. Talking about our people are going to oppress them because they oppressed us. So what's going to make these Gentiles realize who we are? What kind of power is it? And where is that scripture to show that these Gentiles are going to realize who we are? Where can you find that scripture? There's several scriptures, but we're going to go specifically in the Apocrypha. And we're going to go to the book of Sirach, chapter 36. This is Sirach, chapter 36, verse 1. It reads, Have mercy upon us, O power of all, and behold us, and send thy fear upon all the nations that seek not after thee. See that? Because they don't want to seek after the Most High. Lift up thy hand against the strange nations, and let them see thy power. This is when they're going to recognize who Jacob is. As thou wast sanctified in us before them, so be thou magnified among them before us. And let them know thee as we have known you, that there is no power but only thou, O power. Because they don't think that our power, what we be saying, they be thinking they be taking us as a joke. Like, you've been talking about your God, he ain't coming back. You know, that's how they be thinking. But the Most High is going to surprise them. Verse 6, show new signs and make other strange wonders. Glorify thy hand and thy right arm. Who's the right arm? Hamashayach Yahushua, the Messiah. That they may set forth thy wondrous works. Raise up indignation and pour out wrath. Now, when you read this right here, is he praying for love? No, he's praising the Most High and asking the Most High to bring vengeance down on the heathen. Do you see this? They don't teach this in the church. They don't teach that the Most High is going to bring vengeance on the people who oppressed us, who placed us in captivity. And it's more evident that we was placed in captivity and taken off this land and put in captivity in other countries. It says, raise up indignation and pour out wrath. Take away the adversary and destroy the enemy. Make the time short. Remember the covenant and let them declare thy wonderful works. Let him that escapeth be consumed by the rage of the fire. Look at that. And let them perish that oppress the people. So who is that talking about? When we read Isaiah chapter 14, it's talking about Esau. He's oppressing the people. So here in Sirach, he's talking about the same thing. This is a future prophecy. Let's read on. Sirach chapter 36, verse 9. Let's read verse 10. Smite and sunder the heads of the rulers of the heathen, that say, there is none other but we. Remember in Isaiah chapter 14, it says, he that smiteth us with a continual stroke? Who do you think he's talking about? It says, gather all the tribes of Jacob together. What did he say in Isaiah chapter 14? That he's going to gather Jacob and bring them back to the land. And Israel is going to take the oppressors captive. It says, gather all the tribes of Jacob together and inherit thou them as from the beginning. O power, have mercy upon the people that is called by thy name, and upon Israel, whom thou hast named thy firstborn. This goes hand in hand with Isaiah chapter 14. O be merciful unto Jerusalem, thy holy city, the place of thy rest. Fill Zion with thine unspeakable oracles, and thy people with thy glory. Give testimony unto those that thou hast possessed from the beginning, and raise up prophets that have been in thy name. Reward them that wait for thee, and let thy prophets be found faithful. Do you hear this? This is a prayer against our enemies, and that Israel rise and awaken and bring out the judgment that the Most High gave them to put on the nations. So all these things, he tells us, will be in the kingdom. Those who seek after righteousness, this will be our reward. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2. 1 Peter chapter 2, and let's go to 1 Peter chapter 2. Let's read verse 9. 1 Peter 2 and 9. But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who have called you out of darkness into the marvelous light, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of the Most High, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. You see this? This is who the Most High is talking about, his people. When it says, dearly beloved, I beseech you as strangers and pilgrims, abstain from fleshly lusts which war against the soul. When he says dearly beloved, y'all know who the beloved is. Jacob I have loved, and Esau I have hated, right? So who's the beloved? Jacob. Let's go to Daniel 7. These are the things that are going to take place when we go into the kingdom. The old men will sit in the streets. The kids will, I ain't going to say kids are goats, remember? The children will play in the streets, the boys and girls. The baby will lead the lion and the leopard and the bear. There's going to be all kinds of things that we're not used to seeing going on in the kingdom. Book of Daniel. Book of Daniel chapter 7. And let's read verse 22. Daniel 7 and 22. Until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given to the saints of the Most High, and the time came the saints possessed the kingdom. Y'all got to know how we're going to possess it. We're going to conquer it. We're going to conquer the kingdom. We're going to conquer this kingdom. By praising the Most High and keeping His laws, statutes, commandments, we are going to conquer. The Most High He's a great and forgiving power, and for Israel to say that there is no God, those brothers and sisters, man, they are going to be ashamed. Like we read earlier about, when you don't believe, you're going to be ashamed when that day comes. That's the truth, Ruth. That's what's going to happen. I just wanted to touch on this kingdom. Tonight's class is rather short. What time is it? 9:44. But just so y'all have some precepts to line up, if someone asks you, well, what is the kingdom going to look like? I gave you an arsenal of precepts. Utilize those precepts to show someone else what it's going to be like in the kingdom. Because this is only a few. Because the Most High, what He's trying to do is prepare our minds to be ready to go into the kingdom. So He's trying to show us the destruction. When you read the Bible, it's all about destroying the heathens, destroying His people who don't want to believe, and putting fear in the people so they will come back and turn and change their ways to keep His law, statutes, and commandments before the end time. It's going to be very few. Like Ezra said in 2nd Ezra, he says, few will find that road. Let's go there real quick. 2nd Ezra chapter 7. Few will find it. 2nd Ezra chapter 7, verse 1. Let's read verse 2. And it reads, And he said unto me, Up, Ezra, and hear the words that I am come to tell thee. And I said, Speak on, my power. Then said he unto me, The sea is set in a wide place, that it might be deep and great. But put the case, the entrance were narrow, and like a river. Who then could go into the sea to look upon it, and to rule it? If he went not through the narrow, how could he come into the broad? See that? There is also another thing. A city is builded and set upon a broad field, and is full of all good things. The entrance thereof is narrow, and is set in a dangerous place to fall, like as if there were fire on the right hand, and on the left hand a deep water, and one only path between them both, even between the fire and the water, so small that there could but one man go there at once. Only one man could get through this small, narrow place. So it's a lot of people who are not going to find this truth. And I say shame on them for not seeking after it. Because in order for you to get there, you have to seek it. That's the whole thing about the oil. In order to obtain oil, you have to seek the kingdom. A lot of our people go to church every Sunday and they don't seek after the Most High. They're just content with just going to church on Sunday, sitting there, praising Him, and going home. After that, they don't seek after Him no more until the following Sunday, and they do the same thing again, like robots. Just like robots. They say the same prayers over and over. They don't pray for their people. You ever listen to the prayers of our people? They don't pray for the whole nation. Yahweh, by Hamashayach Yasharahla, wants us to pray for His people. Verse 10. And I said, It is so, Lord. Then said He unto me, Even so also is Israel's portion, because for their sakes I made the world. See that? Who did He make the world for? Israel. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They are but few and evil, full of perils and very painful. He's talking about Israel still. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure, and brought immortal fruit. If then they that live labor not to enter these straight and vain things, they can never receive those that are laid up for them. So you got to understand that the things that are laid up for us are in Romans chapter 9. So there, Romans chapter 9 is what Paul was talking about. These are the things laid up for Israel. Romans 9:1. I say the truth in Hamashayach, I lie not. My conscience also bearing me witness in the Holy Spirit, that I have a great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart. For I could wish that myself were accursed from Hamashayach for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, who are Israelites, to whom pertain what? These are the gifts: the adoption, the glory, and the covenants, and the giving of the law, and the service of the Most High, and the promises, whose are the fathers, and whom, as concerning the flesh, Hamashayach came, who is over all, the Most High, blessed forever. Amen. So why did Hamashayach Yahushua come on earth? Did he come for everybody? He only came for us, the Israelites. So that kingdom, that road that we used to get there with, has been narrowified. This is so narrow that only so many people are going to find it. And so, you just got to stay on that path and not give up, and then do it. And we'll get into the kingdom. You know what I mean? Seek after righteousness your entire life. That's what it's about. And lastly, give the Most High praise and thanks for sending His Son, Hamashayach Yahushua, on the earth, giving us mercy and grace, because us keeping the laws couldn't do it unless we had it. Because a lot of us would be done with based on the judgmental and the sacrificial laws. So all praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Hamashayach Yahushua, and all those brothers and sisters listening. I ask that the Most High bless you, brothers and sisters. And I hope this is of value to you, where you got some understanding. And with that, I'm going to say shalom to Yasharahla. Happy Pentecost.